All right, welcome in everybody. Today we're going to be talking about prescribing favorite prescriptions, how to create them, and then some faster mechanisms for prescribing and sending prescriptions. So here you have a progress note, and you will have a diagnosis, which I'm going to drop in really fast here. So from the patient's problem list, we'll go sore throat. The 9 to 10 map comes across that will convert to the patient's problem list. And I go to my treatment screen here. And now when I go to add a prescription, I've one quick button saver for you is to always click the add without formulary button here, the green. I've just trained my brain and muscles to do that. If you add with formulary, depending on their insurance plan, it opens up a screen that does not allow you to access favorite prescriptions. But if you click add without formulary, you always access this screen, which gives you the option to choose on my favorites for prescriptions. Have you noticed that at all, Carl? Is that something you've picked up on?
Nope.
Okay. So I've just trained myself to go add without formulary every time, regardless, because then you get to this screen. So that's something to consider. If you don't, I doubt it'll do it with this test patient. If you just click add, sometimes it opens up a different medication prescribing screen, which I don't know why they have to, but they do, and it's a little more cumbersome to prescribe, so always do without formulary. You've probably seen that other screen, which doesn't look as robust as this.
Can that not be defaulted to somehow? So you just have to add?
That's a great question. I don't know if it can be. You know what? I'll have to look into that.
Because it's just an extra click, right?
Totally is, and an annoying one at that. Add that on my list of stuff to look at. Default to add without formulary. Quick teaser for anybody who just joined. Welcome, Jay. I do have some ideas around how to build some ouch formulary stuff into eCW. And I'm reopening that conversation with them. So default to add without formula. Let me see if I can find a setting for that. But for now, what you have to do is click that add without formula, which takes you to this screen, which is your treatment screen. So again, just to show everybody, you want to click the arrow next to add RX without formulary. You'll always get this screen. And then from here, you've got a much more robust order entry screen. If you notice, you can actually go right here to add to order, which takes you into labs or an NDI, all within one click. Instead of closing this out and then going back to your order screen. You have it all right here. So that's kind of a nice navigation thing for you. So then from there, once you have your favorite prescriptions, you can click My Favorites, and then you've got all of your prescriptions handy right here that are your favorites. So lisinopril, lisinopril, hydrochlorothiazide, those are favorites I've made in the past. If it's not a favorite, let me show you how to make a favorite. Change that to standard. If I punch in, what's one that I might not have as a favorite? Yeah, let's do Pradaxa. So with Pradaxa, 150 milligrams twice a day. So I can make it a favorite by clicking on this green star. There's a star with a green add button to it. I can make it a favorite here is one way to do it. And you can modify your SIG and your everything else right there, how you like to prescribe it and how many refills you want to put on it. So probably just do 5 on Pradaxa, 150 twice a day, 30 days, dispense number 60. So I like how that's all set up. It's got the NDC code. Now, this is an important thing, is I can actually make this a favorite for all providers. So if I go ahead and click make as a favorite for all providers, now you will have access to prescribing Pradaxa just like this from your favorite screen. And you don't have to, when you're using favorites, you don't ever have to put in your dispense, your duration, or your refills. And that's your big time saver right there. So I just made that a favorite for all providers. So now if I come back to my favorites here, and I type Redaxa. Now I've got it as a favorite, and so do you actually. If you want to go ahead and test that, you should have it in your favorites. Looks like I put that in there before, the exact same way before, so now I have 2 favorites of Redaxa. One question I frequently get when talking about favorite prescriptions is, can I see my list of favorites? And you cannot. There's no place in eCW where you have it listed. So from here, then you click on it, and you close, and then your treatment, your plan is all set. It's going to give me a warning here. It's not recommended in pregnancy. Don't do that. Close, and then I'm ready to send my prescription. You can default your send prescription button to just be set to e-prescribe instead of fax if you've trained yourself to go to here and go to e-prescribe. This can be defaulted to make it go to, see, mine actually does go to fax apparently. I'm pretty sure that's a setting we need to figure out. So you always have to hit the arrow next to e-prescribe, and then your browse statement, and then your comprehensive English or Spanish. And you're off to the races. That gives you the ouch formulary, English or Spanish label. Should have looked at where that setting is. I'm fairly sure that that setting for e-prescribing, to where you can just hit the big send RX button, is defaultable to e-prescribing and not to mine. I thought was set to e-prescribe because I've been using it that way, but apparently it's not here on this particular patient. Let me just put that on my notes here. And I'm pretty sure there's a setting for that, so I'm going to have to look into those 2 settings for everyone. So from there, that's how you set up a favorite prescription. Now we've made that a favorite prescription for everybody, and that's one way to do it. The other way to make a favorite prescription, I'm going to go ahead and remove this prescription, is when you actually put it in your treatment plan. So if I have, let's see, what's another prescription? Pretty sure I've got Lantus on there. How about Byetta? Let's see, so if I have Byetta, I put that, so then I choose it, and I don't make it a favorite quite yet. If you forgot to do that, but you remembered, hey, I should make this a favorite, you can do it from this screen right here. Once you open kind of the wide horizontal prescription notification screen from here, you can dial up how you like to prescribe it. 2 injectors, sub-Q twice a day, and then I can click add as a favorite right here, and now I've made it a favorite, and I don't have to go back and do it. I frequently do it through this screen, and again, I can make that a favorite for all providers. I can click OK, and then it's set up as a favorite for all providers and set up as a favorite for yourself. That is one way to make prescription favorites. You have those 2 options on how to do it. The other thing that I've learned you can do is I can actually copy my prescription favorites to other people and to everybody in the organization. And you can actually change quite a bit of stuff here through EMR, miscellaneous configuration categories, and if I go to configure categories, I can pick myself, for example, as kind of a, if I choose this and then I change this right here to, I believe I can make my favorite prescriptions be your favorite prescriptions, but.
Did you need to pick Maggie Hall or pick you?
Say again.
I think you selected Maggie instead of yourself.
Oh.
If that makes a difference.
Thank you. Yeah, it probably does. So if I do copy favorites from here, then I do have, I thought I had prescription favorites as an option to make favorites of everybody. It's only lab favorites, my mistake, and DI favorites. Procedure order, yeah, there's no prescription on here. So I can't actually make favorites to copy my favorites to everybody else. But again, your prescribing practices may be different from mine, and so as you kind of do this as you go along, is how you kind of build your own formulary, and that's kind of how you roll. But my apologies, like I said, I can't copy favorite prescriptions over to everybody else. But from there, that's kind of favorite prescribing. The other way for faster prescription order entry is through order sets, which once you have a diagnosis in, and I go to my treatment screen, you can access order sets right here on this red order set, and if it's mapped properly to the diagnosis, we've mapped this one to ICD-10P to acute visit for nasopharyngitis. You do have prescription in here that have all the dispense duration and refills typically filled out. This is an order set that I don't believe is very robust. And so the kind of the star CHC ones are ones that different groups of people have worked on and built. I don't think we have kind of an acute care one.
I was going to say a lot of the mapping, it seems to be kind of broken since we went to ICD-10.
Yeah.
For example, for pregnancy and diabetics, it's very frustratingly not well attached, and I have to always go up and try to, search for it. Is there a way to fix that?
Yeah, there is. So within the order set, we have to just go ahead and we have to remap all of the ICD codes that have been set as defaults to map those to give you the auto instead of having to search for your order set right here. Let's see, there's a star CHC or a vomiting diarrhea. So here's, again, you've got your DDRs, dispense duration refill. A lot of it filled out, some of it not, because this kind of got thrown together probably. But when you build an order set, you can actually build it with prescriptions as you like them through then you get lab order entry and DI entry and all that stuff that you get with an order set in addition. But those are some places to find some prescriptions. One order set we've built that has some favorite prescriptions dialed up nicely that aren't is Star CHC Diabetes Supplies. If you've seen that one yet, it's got your blood glucose test strips, 2 boxes, matched to insurance if applicable. It's got a lot of fields that just make it really generic for the pharmacy to just hopefully fill it and not bug you about it. Pen needles, insulin syringes, lancets, and blood glucose meters.
Hey, Chris,
yeah.
While we're on that topic, in the past, I thought we had as a policy that support staff and people taking messages and all that would know how to just do this for patients when they request. Do they know about this order set?
They do. Well, they should. Actually, what they're doing is they're actually health education department has been protocolized to deal with these prescription refill requests. They don't have ability to create a new prescription out of them, but they've been protocolized to go ahead and manage all refill requests and requests that come in for more supplies. All go through the health ed department, and you shouldn't be seeing too many of those.
Oh, but health ed can't add using this order, so in other words, it has to come through us for the first time, and then thereafter they'll do it? Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Because these are pretty generic. Why can't we just have them just do it? I mean, this is a generic. Why would we? I mean, especially as generic as these are, I would think that they ought to be able to do it even first.
No. You're my mistake. We did the protocol we wrote and LCT approved does allow them to generate a new prescription. So if the protocol is actually written right here in the message portion of the order set. So they will, they can generate and refill prescriptions by the health education staff for glucometers and lancets and the like. So that's all set up for them to be able to generate prescriptions. So when they go see health ed and they need a meter, health education can generate a new prescription if they have insurance and send it to the pharmacy.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I haven't noticed a huge drop in managing this stuff as of yet. Has anybody else since we rolled this protocol out?
Well, that's why I asked. I've been a little frustrated that I'm still getting these requests, and I thought we had a protocol that would.
Yeah, protocol is in place for head to have health ed do that in there. Also do that.
How do we get to them, Chris?
Yeah.
how does it get to them is the question. Is it supposed to be routed by the call center, or what's there's got to be a systems failure, I'm guessing, but
It's probably call center hasn't been fully onboarded with the process.
so when people call in or they get something in, they're supposed to route it to health ed?
Exactly.
Okay.
Let me follow up on that. That's probably where the breakdown's happening. I don't think it's happening at the health ed level. I think they're happy to deal with this when it comes to them. And so we probably need to make sure health ed is, phone center is aware of that. So I'll get a message out to them today right now. Good. So that's another place. While I've got folks, I was going to show you the OB Superbill. Carl, are you using this at all?
Yeah, I use it. I mean, I usually use it when I'm doing like NST AFIs, mainly just for billing purposes. But I don't know if there's another power to it that you will.
Yeah. Let me just kind of walk folks through it. So here's your a Superbill for pregnancy visits. So at default, I have mine set to default to star prenatal complicated. So what you have here is you have your OB visit charge, which you can put in at each visit, and then you can pick your more specific ICD-10 pregnancy diagnosis. And it starts out with acute problems, social problems, and so you could probably bill a lot of our patients under supervision of high-risk pregnancy due to social problems by trimester. Gives you a more, in social problems, per Medicaid in years past has been defined as non-English speaking, low socioeconomic status, and unplanned pregnancy. So a lot of our patients will fit one of those. So you can, I use this code a lot to be more specific when encoding pregnancy visits. Obesity pregnancy, you can almost use that in most of our pregnancy visits.
Is this Superbill available to everybody, or do you have to add it to your defaults or something?
It's available to everybody. I'll show you right now how to make it your default. Then you got GDM, you got AMA by trimester, GDM by trimester. Although it's actually it's GDM is more just is it insulin or medication management or diet control. You got those three options. You don't do a specific trimester for that. Insufficient care, which is very common. We'll see patients obviously come in late, and you can use that one. Or if they've missed some visits, you can use that one. You got PIH, pre-existing diabetes, history of preterm, substance abuse in pregnancy, and history of C-section. I use this history of C-section and desiring VBAC one a lot, and I put that on the problem list. It's a nice thing to have, I think, on their general problem list.
This might be something you want to like maybe just show people quickly at the next provider meeting. I think this would maybe save people some time in billing and trying to find all the trimester stuff if that's a big deal. Or anyways.
Yeah, and in fact, I wanted to do this in its own individual YouTube and send that out. Let me just put that on.
That'd be fine too.
Yeah. Put that on my list here. So I got that. And so then you got twins, and I think Dr. Garrison's updated this with a couple of things here and there for the more higher stuff. And then you also have an uncomplicated, I find I rarely go to this one, but you have your OB bill, and then you can pick a pregnancy, first pregnancy, or in a second plus, and then it's by trimester, and that's just kind of run-of-the-mill healthy pregnancy that doesn't have any problems. You can use that one. They're two different. We separated them out into two different super bills. And the way you make those a default, let me show you how to make those a default super bill for you. If you go to File, Settings, might take me a minute to remember where to set this. My settings, believe it's in Views. No, Show, Hide, Defaults. There it is. It's in defaults. So if you go to your far right screen, you have defaults. You can make your default super bill to be pregnancy complicated, star prenatal complicated, and then you've got access to you got the 59420, the dummy code, and then you've got your all your diagnoses right there. And now, one thing I do know for sure, and I've tested this and it does work, is once you have that set as your default, you can go immediately. So once you use the OB Superbill, and I pick my prenatal visit, and there's your Carl, there's your NST and your ultrasound. But I pick my prenatal visit and I pick a diagnosis and I click OK. Now I've got my ICD-10, and I've got.
Chris, what was the first one you did? You get there from File or EMR? I can't. What was the first one you picked to get to the default? Sorry.
Oh yeah, no worries. You go to File and then Settings, My Settings,
Okay.
and then it's defaults. File, Settings, My Settings, and then scroll to your far right, Defaults, and then your default Superbill right there. Ben, yours is probably already defaulted to that because I copied my settings onto yours, and I think that copy settings function actually works, so yours may be already set to that. And so then from there you've got, and then you get to your, I like to use that details button to navigate, and I get into my navigation screen. The S is your Superbill. This is how to quickly do OB billing. Again, you've got prenatal complicated as my default. I put in that, I put in my diagnosis, I click save, and now I've got a diagnosis for pregnancy as well as my pregnancy code. Then I go to my treatment screen, and my order set should default to the Star CHC prenatal order set, which is a pretty robust thing. Oh, and that one's apparently not mapped. I thought we had that all mapped. My apologies. Once you get there, though, then you can go to Star CHC prenatal. I'll have to get all the order sets remapped. It's going to be a job. Remap order set. At least the OB one. I'm gonna Jackie Montoya is the one who mapped that all. I'm gonna have her see if she can troubleshoot this and get that mirror mapped. But then you've got right here. You've got your ferrous sulfate. If you're gonna iron, and then it's got one bottle. It's got pretty generic prescribing practices to keep that easy. If you're gonna prescribe the ferrous sulfate, obviously an OTC option is fine. But then you got your different prenatal order set medications. And if you recall from one of our eCW universities last time, we did get the ginger in there and your doxylamine and then your B6. So those two right there. I need to delete this B6 natural off the order set because we've updated that with pyridoxine twice a day is your B6, and that's the ACOG, or those two actually together, if I'm not mistaken. And then you got your ginger prescription in there, Dr. Moreland. So yeah, that's the prenatal order set.
Thank you.
So we're kind of showing that, and then that should map directly off your Superbill. And if you got the set as a default, that could be a time saver for you. As far as prescriptions goes, was the main topic of today's visit. Hopefully you know how to set up the favorites, and got a list of stuff to work on today at some point, and we'll work on those things. Anybody else have any other comments? It's 8 o'clock. Thank you for participating. We should try to wrap this up pretty soon. If anybody wants to stick on, I've got some time if you've got some other further questions.
I'm good. Thanks, Chris.
You good? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good day.
Okay, bye-bye.